Hello, my name is Tylluan Penry. I'm a solitary pagan witch, an author and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. The purpose of these little talks is to sort of communicate with people who are embarking on their spiritual path at the beginning, or who have sort of fallen off it a bit, or who are on their path and looking for something new to investigate. Sorry about all the coughing in the background, it's Noah, he hasn't really calmed down much tonight. I think what I want to do is to answer the questions that a lot of people would, I'm sorry about this, a lot of people would like to ask, but Noah, what are you doing?
He's come up beside her.
He's coming to say hello. Can you see him?
Yeah.
Oh, hello Noah. Hello sweetheart. You coming down now? Will you come down? And we can do this little talk. I'm awfully sorry, honestly. But I know some of you really like to see Noah, so I won't cut it off. Come on down, sweetheart. Come on. Come on over here. Come on. Anyway, the idea is to answer questions that you would like to ask, but perhaps because you're on your path on your own, you're a solitary, there's nobody to ask. And like many things that we learn, whether it's science or languages or what have you, it's often the really silly little things that trip us up. So today's little chat was prompted by a question from a listener about how do you find a teacher? How do you find someone to teach you? Well, first of all, I would say, what do you want to learn? Because this is terribly important, and it's something a lot of people actually don't think much about. They're so hell-bent on trying to find a teacher that instead they will take any teacher at any level, and that's really not the way to go about it. When we begin, there isn't really a need for a teacher. We're finding our way. It's a bit like the difference between going and climbing Mount Everest and going on a small walk up the local hill. You can do a small walk up the local hill without much help and without any special equipment. If you want to scale Everest, well, yes, by all means go and find yourself someone to teach you all the intricacies of rock climbing, but it may be you never want to, in which case there's no point. So finding a teacher is something you have to decide for yourself. What do you want this teacher to teach you? There are plenty of people out there who will claim to be teachers, and some of them you really shouldn't go anywhere near. The trouble is, of course, how do we know? Well, often we don't know until we engage with them, but this is why, at the very beginning at least, you really, really need to read. Read widely, read wisely, and read well. It's not just a question of cramming as many books as you can onto your Kindle and they're saying, oh, I've got 150 books on my Kindle now. That's fine. It isn't unless you read them. And even if you read them, it's no use unless you've understood them. So you have to read carefully. I would always advise making notes as you read to see if you really understand it. And if somebody writes in such a way that you find them difficult to understand, put it on one side, go and read something else and come back to it later. It may be that at the moment you're not at a level where you can understand it. Or it may be, as I have sometimes discovered, they're writing rubbish. You know, you really don't know, and you have to put this out there and try and work at it for yourself. Even if you decide you want to be in a group, you have to find a group. You have to find a group who is going to accept you. You have to find a group you are going to fit in with. The dynamics of groups are very difficult. This is why they don't like taking on new members, because if a group of, say, 5 people are getting on really well together, they may take on a 6th, and the whole ethos of the group changes. You end up with lots of things going down that you wouldn't expect. And this is important. And also, as a very wise witch, Tam Campbell, once told me, even if you're in a group, ultimately you have to work and walk your path on your own. So this is important too. Finding a teacher is nothing like as important as finding out what you want to learn. And another thing I would advise is never, ever, ever go with anybody who makes you feel uncomfortable. I've heard it so many times where people have been asked to do things or participate in things, particularly with regard to nakedness and sex and sometimes drugs. And it's been put out there as, well, this is what you have to do or else. Well, no, you don't. If you really don't feel comfortable, it doesn't matter, leave it, don't do it. And get away from those people as quickly as you can, because they're not going to be good for you. There is nothing in a spiritual path that says you must do things you really don't like. You must do things you don't feel comfortable with. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. I'm hoping to return to this subject several times and build up on what I've said. But initially, at least, my advice would be decide what exactly you want somebody to teach you. What exactly do you want to know? See how many books you can find on the topic. Read through them, because when you do meet someone who claims to be a teacher, you will be able to ask them intelligent questions if you have already read up on the subject. The trouble with not reading up on your subjects is that you don't even know what you don't know. And more importantly, you won't know what they don't know or what they can offer. So that's really important. And never ever allow anybody to make you feel uncomfortable. Never let anybody make you feel you should be doing X, Y, Z. If you feel a bit, I don't want to do that, then don't. And get away from it. Go and find something else, because there are always different paths that you can follow. There are always going to be paths that you won't like. There are always going to be paths that fit you like a glove. And if you can't immediately find a path that fits you like a glove, oh, way up, the clock is off. If you can't immediately find a path that fits you like a glove, don't despair. Just keep on walking. It may be that the new path, the new teacher, the new group is just over the hill, and all you have to do is walk to meet it. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful, and thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.